Do chickens have large talons?
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel, and as you guys can see, it is Halloween. I am dressed up, of course, as Napoleon Dynamite, which is one of the greatest movies ever. It's Halloween. I figured I'd get into the Halloween spirit by dressing up as a character from one of my favorite movies. So this is my Nightmare Elm Street ranking. I will be ranking all 9 films now that I have done every single review for all of the Nightmare Elm Street films. Let's start off with number 9. It should be easy, isn't it? Freddy's dead. That's it. I don't even want to talk about this piece of garbage. It's not worth even talking about. So let's move on to number 8. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child. This movie goes for a lot of different things, and it is not able to really execute those things. Now we have Alice who comes back. She has a kid, and this kid somehow is getting used by Freddy as a way to get Alice's friends killed. I honestly don't like the premise of this movie. I think a lot of the problems with this movie is it tries to go for too many things, and it just does not accomplish any of those things that it goes for. And quite honestly, it's a little boring. I felt the movie was a little drawn out. I felt like it really was just an unnecessary sequel to this franchise. Now, no movie's ever necessary. I'm not saying that all the other ones are necessary, but to me, it just felt like this one was kind of, let's just go for every idea at the wall and just let's see which one sticks. And to me, it's just a little bit lazy in its execution and in its writing and in its structure. Number 7, the Nightmare on Elm Street 2010 remake. This movie, the biggest problem, and I said it in my review and I'm going to say it again, you do not make Freddy Krueger a pedophile, okay? There is no way your character is going to be likable, because here's the thing. We understand Freddy has always been a villain. He's a child murderer. We get that. But there's a sensibility about Freddy that makes him so easy to love. And it's his dark humor. It's those undertones. This movie really goes for broke in showing how twisted and sick this portrayal of Freddy is. I also don't like how CGI-filled this movie is in terms of the kills, in terms of Freddy. And it feels like, although some of the dream sequences work, it just feels like it's a rehash of the original movie, where the original movie just did it 10 times better. So, ultimately, guys, this is number 7. It could have been 8 or 9, but there is some enjoyment out of this. I think Katie Cassidy does give a decent performance in this film, and I do like some of the new takes on things in terms of what they end up doing with this franchise, and I like the fact that they kind of go back to the well, but they do something different in terms of making their characters a little bit different than the original characters from the franchise. Number 6, Freddy versus Jason. Now, this one, it's only ranked number 6, not because I think this movie's bad. I actually really enjoyed this film. To me, it plays on that nostalgia. But ranking this with inside of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, to me, it gets a little kind of downtrodden. Because the problem with this movie is the fact that this is really a Friday the 13th film at its core. They treat Jason with so much respect, so much dignity, so much justice, where it's like Freddy is kind of almost an afterthought. He doesn't really get a lot of the kills. He gets 1 kill in this entire movie. Most of the time, he's just kind of toying around with the characters, breaking the fourth wall. You get that fun Freddy from Robert Englund's performance, but ultimately I wish that they would have done a little bit more to giving Freddy kind of that impact that he so deserves, because he's such an iconic character, and it really needed to balance out, and unfortunately I felt like the scale weighed heavily towards one side, and that one side was Jason Voorhees. Number 5, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 4, The Dream Master. This movie makes a huge mistake in terms of not bringing Patricia Arquette back to play Kristen. It sucks the fact that we get, Tuesday Night, who I love her name, but she does not do the character justice. Also, they decided to kill off all of the Dream Warriors, and I hated that because I love those characters so much. They weren't able to do justice, and this movie is a little bit boring. Yes, the cockroach motel scene is awesome, but I just feel like they could have done a lot more. The dream sequences are a lot more bizarre and out there and trippy and cool. But unfortunately, this movie does not do other characters that we love so much from Part 3 any justice. Number 4 goes to Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddys Revenge. I've seen this lower on a lot of people's list. I actually really enjoy this film. I think it is a little odd the way that they try to structure it after the first movie, where Freddy definitely changes his own rules, and I don't really like that. But I do like the character of Jesse. I like the fact that this movie is kind of a resemblance of thinking outside the box, not just thinking about women as the final girls, but having a final man. I think that's a really nice play on the slasher franchise. I also like a lot of the kills here. I also love the fact that there's some really good practical effect work, and this is a solid movie. It's a fun movie. It's one that I could definitely plug in, And who doesn't love that dancing scene with Jesse? I mean, come on, it's iconic. Number 3, New Nightmare. Wes Craven came back and he does such a phenomenal job with making this meta film. This is a fun movie. A little bit slow at times, but that slow burn really pays off at the end. Freddy's really in the background of this film. It feels like Robert Englund is more at the forefront, him as himself. Wes Craven's in his own movie. This is a movie within a movie. I love movies like this, and honestly, this movie is number 3 because it's so meta and it's so out there and so different, and it feels like Scream before Scream was even Scream. That's because it is. Number 2, Nightmare Elm Street Part 3, The Dream Warriors. Who doesn't love this movie? It's so good. I love the fact that they bring all of these characters together. They bring back Heather Langenkamp, who does such a better job in this movie, and she also helps the characters that are going through the same thing she went through, and she helps them along the way. I love the fact that Kristen can pull people into her dreams, and honestly, I think this is the best balance of Freddy. He's scary, maniacal, and he's also very funny. He has that really dark humor. He has one of the best lines in the entire franchise, which is this. And honestly, this movie is a lot of fun to me. It's number 2 because, unfortunately, I just think Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, is the best film in this franchise. You gotta love this movie. It's so inventive. It does something so different with a slasher franchise. Freddy Krueger becomes a staple and an icon within this horror world. And honestly, the thing I love about this movie is that they keep him so hidden. And every single time he's on screen, you are scared even more than the last time you saw him. Heather Langenkamp is a little bit of a weakness in this film. I don't think her acting is up to par as it should be. But honestly, guys, Nightmare on Elm Street, the original, is one of the best horror films ever made. It's the one that I will go to time and time again when I want to watch a Nightmare on Elm Street film because it's just executed in such the right way. And Johnny Depp is awesome in it. I really like Johnny Depp in this movie. But anyway, guys, that is my ranking of the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. What do you guys think about my ranking? Is there anything that you'd place differently? I'm sure there is. What do you guys think about the costume? Do you like this? Anyway, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you drop a like on the video. Subscribe to my channel for more content just like this. And remember, girls, we like guys with special skills. Nunchuck skills, computer hacking skills, bow hunting skills.